Well, hello. Welcome back to another exciting edition of Coffee with Stephen. So, typically speaking, in these vlogs, we talk about Second Amendment related issues. Now, all of us are passionately concerned with the defense of liberty. And the reality is that we can't completely limit ourselves exclusively to the Second Amendment. The reality is that the First Amendment is just as important as all other nine amendments are. Um, so, this particular blog is focusing primarily on First Amendment related issues and what the First Amendment does not protect. So, the First Amendment, you've got to remember, actually, all of the Bill of Rights were originally constructed to protect individuals against federal intrusions on their rights. Private individuals operating amongst themselves were completely free to do unbelievably egregious things. What's a little disturbing right now, and the reason that I decided to write this blog was a statement that Chris Murphy, the Democratic senator from New Jersey, made last week, where he said that some of the websites that provide dubious information, to say the least, a lot of conspiracy theorist websites, alt-right websites, things like that, they needed to be shut down. They needed to be taken off of these platforms, that servers that were allowing them to be promulgate their message. And the actionable quote here is that our democracy is in jeopardy as a result of these. This troubles me a great deal. Not that private institutions like server farms or hosting sites don't have an absolute right to make a determination as to who gets to be able to be on their platforms. Rather, it was the fact that we had a sitting senator effectively demanding that a private institution do a specific thing, especially as it relates to the squelching of speech. The two individuals that I bring up as sort of passionate defenders of free speech are John Stuart Mill, who many of you probably have heard of before. He's one of the philosophers that helped formulate our revolution. He wrote a piece called On Liberty, which I won't go into great detail of, but effectively he says that when we have free speech, everybody profits. You know, if you had an idea that is tested by the speech of somebody that's against you, one of three things are going to happen. Either your idea is going to withstand the scrutiny of that contested speech, you're going to take certain aspects of that contested speech and realize that your original thought needs to be modified based on this new information you have, or alternatively, you're going to completely abandon your original idea because the contested speech actually is superior. So by being exposed to this contrarian idea, you end up being better off than you would have been had you never heard it to begin with. Now, about 75 years later, all of the millennials and hipsters that watch me will recognize this name. Nietzsche comes in with a different type of philosophy, but essentially a mimic of John Stuart Mill. He says in his original German, philosophize mit Hammer, which essentially translates as that we have to philosophize in the verb sense. We have to actively philosophize, and we have to do it with a hammer. What he means by a hammer, we have idols, we have dogma, we have ideas, and we have to pound on those ideas with contrarian philosophy. And one of essentially two things are going to happen. Either the original idea, the idol, the statue, is going to crumble as a result of our contrarian idea, or alternatively, the hammer that we're philosophizing with our ideas, they're going to crumble under the weight of the original statue. Either way, we're better off for having been exposed to this contrarian idea, this free speech. The fact that a senator or any member of the left, quite candidly, would be seeking to reduce the speech that's out there does us all a great disservice and becomes dangerously close to using a concept called agency, essentially where the state uses private individuals to do things that the state otherwise couldn't have done. And that's a problem in and of itself. Anyways, I hope you read the blog. As always, if you have any questions or comments, you can email me at stephen@artemishq.com. And again, as always, train constantly, train consistently, train repetitively, and train with purpose. And above all else, stay safe. Until next week, thank you for watching my somewhat longer blog this week.